Right, okay, so I'm going to run you through how we make the double filter air intake. Oh, got one over here we made before. So, okay, just to run through a couple of things. We had lots of people going, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, won't work, blah blah blah. So, firstly, 3-inch intake goes onto the throttle body into a 4-inch tube, and then into a wide piece, 2 filters. So, first thing that people were saying on the internet is that you can't have that 3-inch into 4-inch, you'll get lots of restrictions, blah blah. So, a couple of things there. Firstly, basic physics. If you're sucking through a straw or you're sucking through a drain pipe, it's easier to suck through the drain pipe. So supercharger needs to suck air, okay, all cars need to suck, but supercharger particularly, to get that air in, to actually compress it and make more of it, it's going to need more air going in. Easier it is to suck, quicker the supercharger will spin up. So it's not rocket science, it's fairly simple. Other one with the 45-degree angle, people say, oh, loads and loads of restrictions, that'd be a bad thing. Well, it's 4-inch up there. Yeah, alright, it's going to a 3-inch, but it's then going through a smaller throttle body, more restriction. It's then going for a very, very small port, even more restriction. So the whole restriction thing is just rubbish. That doesn't, it's not a thing. Other thing was heat, that you can't do it because you need a heat guard. This sits pretty much over the top of the headers if you're American, in exhaust manifolds if you're British. Yeah, but this one faces the fog lights air intake. That one goes to the original airbox intake. You'll see the back of these filters act to a small extent as a heat guard anyway. So it's getting cool air. Air intake temperatures anyway aren't really a thing on a supercharged or turbocharged forced induction engine. Normally aspirated, yeah. The heat is coming after the turbo, after the supercharger. So air intakes aren't really an issue, but this actually runs just as cool, pretty much as a standard one, plus you're not blocking off the air like a CTS, IE, etc. Air intake. So, as I say, running through bits you are going to need. Silicon 45-degree bend. You are going to need the vacuum takeoff, so they've got a little, I don't think you can see actually, they've got a little rubber seal there, so we're going to drill, put that in. Going forward, you will need your Y piece, that needs to be cut down, okay, so there's a couple of bits here you need to modify. So it's very, very important that you cut the right bit. So as you can see, there are different angles to this, it's not even. So it's really important that you cut the right angle for it. Easiest way is to offer it up to your car to actually see where it should go. We're going to make some cuts just after the swage line there. So these are air vent intakes. They're quite thin, they resonate a bit, which is good for the sound. So I don't know whether you can actually see, they are sealed in the inside with a kind of seam sealer, a heat seam sealer. We're going to cut them. We're also going to tidy that up a little bit. I don't know if you can see from there, they're a bit rough and ready. So we're going to put some seam sealer around there before we paint them. So we've got that. We've got the valve I mentioned. So these are turbo clips. Yeah, so that's going on your 3-inch end to the throttle body. Don't be tempted to put a worm drive clip on there for cheapness. These give a nice easy, they're nice and thick, and they pull up really tight and work well. And we're going to need some aluminium tube. So this is 3.2 mil. Yeah, so it is thick. We did play around with the 1.6 tube, which is fine, works okay. This is purely around, well, two things really. So firstly, heat with it, so aluminium dissipates heat quite well. Thicker it is, obviously, the more it does that, but also the sound. As you can hear, it's resonating the sound a little bit more. Not that much. It's marginal in terms of what you'll notice really. And the other bit is this. So this is going to be your bracket. So that's going to go down to subframe, for want of a better word, just to support it. To be fair, doesn't really need it. However, it's there if you want it. It also acts as a clamp around there where you're going to join the two bits of pipe. So we need to show you what to cut and where to cut it. Okay, getting ready to cut. As you can see, 24 centimeters. Yep, to that line. Doesn't need to be perfect. Yep, so I'm going to be using an angle grinder, using an axe or whatever. Also going to be cutting that. So as I mentioned, these are all different angles, so the easiest way to work out which bits to cut are the bits where there is a right angle. Okay, they're the bits that you are going to be cutting. So let's mask them off and cut. Okay, so it's looking a bit rough, just marking out ready to do the seam sealer. It really doesn't need to be tidy, okay? You're going to smooth it down with your finger. It's really just to tidy that up a little bit. It's going to be painted over the top, so it makes no difference. As you can see, I'm quite finished it here, but yeah, we'll show you when it's done. Okay, so we've seam sealed it. Don't worry that it looks really rough. That's fine. Just as long as you've covered everything. As you can see, once it's painted you won't notice. Okay, so grinding off the edges, the most important thing you will do. Okay, the last thing you want is any bits of swarf or anything getting sucked into the supercharger. So spend a bit of time, use a Dremel, use the grinding, then use the sanding bit, then hand sand to get every little bit of rough edge out, and then hand sand. Okay, so we've now primed them, so they've been rubbed down with 1200 grit, bit of Scotch Brite as well, and I use etch primer out of a tin rather than get the compressor out. There's no difference really, so that's fine. Make sure you etch prime them, and then we'll go to the top coat. Okay, so next bit of cutting is the 45-degree elbow. So again, I think I might have mentioned this. This one is one I've been using, nice and thick, doesn't bend too much. Be careful, the cheaper ones, I think it's about £30, something like that. However, you need to cut this. As you can see, differences between the two. Yeah, so we need to cut 3.5 centimeters off of that end, 4 centimeters off of that end. So this end is also going to be the band that you use to join the tube to the Y piece as well, that 4 centimeters. You can go more than that if you want, that's not too important. This is quite important, as this is going to dictate the angle as it comes out of the throttle body before it gets to kind of the inner wing, as it were. So that is quite important. I would suggest that you mark it up and then kind of test fit it, not test fit it, but put it up against the car to see where it's going to go. But as I say, 3.5 centimeters for that, 4 centimeters or more for that end. So in terms of cutting it, I use an angle grinder purely because it's kind of favourite tool, but it's easier to do. You clamp it down, yeah, so clamp it down. You can do that either with a bit of wood, 2G clamps. I've got some mole grips that are flat for putting metal together. Zip through it. The ends then need to be cleaned up tidy, nice and square. So I use a DA orbital sander to do that. sand it down so it's all nice and flush, nice and tidy, and then go around the edge just to kind of make sure there's no straggly bits that's going to get sucked into to the supercharger, because that would be quite a bad thing. So I will do the cuts on this, and then the only other bit we've got to do is to put in the 8mm takeoff valve. Thank you. Pipe, main tube, that's all painted up if you are painting it, so you need to etch prime it, whatever you do. I use an aerosol etch primer. This has then got brilliant red Audi base and clear coat. We've got the wide piece painted again, so these are the two bits that came off, so that from there, and that one there, which has been shortened, so it's going to sit pretty much like that. We've got the supports, and we've cut off two bits off of the silicone tube, so the bit off that end is now going to be the joiner between the pipe. So trimmed off the ends. The other thing you're going to need obviously is the 8mm takeoff valve. So drilling through, best way to do this is to actually do it on the car. You don't want it too far that way because it's going to hit the throttle body. Too far away, your pipe won't reach. If it doesn't reach, you can extend it, which is a bit of a pain, but can be done. So drill your hole, make sure that you burn it with a lighter or whatever to get rid of any burrs in there, and then it will just push through such, and you tighten it up. Got the washer around the wrong way. So the next bit we need to do is actually put it all together and see what it looks like on the car. So all pretty much done. The HKS filters are on. Just one thing when you're putting those on, just make sure that if you put in silicone gasket, or gasket sealant rather, around the edges to around there to make a better seal, which is what I've done. Always put it on this side, don't put it on the filter, otherwise when you push the filter on, if the silicone sealant is around the filter, it could potentially push it down the intake pipe, whereas suppose if it's on the outside of the pipe, then it shouldn't go further up. Don't use too much either. So the only thing I haven't done on this one, which you can see on this one, is the clamp. So this has a screw in at the bottom to support the pipe while it's in the engine bay. I haven't bothered on this one purely because I quite like the way it looks, and I've been running without one for 3 months. If you do decide to get one, make sure you get the one which has got the rubber with it. As I say, these screw in then, and this clamps down over the top. I'm using on this one actually to do the top of the silicone. You can move it across to where the ridge is, and there's actually a ridge in the bottom of this that can correspond, and you can do it that way. You may have to put a couple of extra bits of silicone to raise it, or you can use it as a supplementary clamp. I've just 2 on there. You can actually see that ridge better on this one, so if I do decide to put a support on it, I will do it there, so to fit on the car.